Welcome to Top 10 Worldwide. Here we give you the amazing top 10s. In 2020, there were reportedly 2,095 billionaires on Earth, with an estimated total net worth of $8 trillion. Of this amount, the top 10 wealthiest people in the world account for $1,128.50 billion, or roughly 14.11%. Which is impressive when you consider that they represent around 0.48% of billionaires. Below are the 10 individuals currently considered the wealthiest at the time of updating this article, January 19, 2021, according to Bloomberg's Billionaires Index. Here are the top 10 richest people in the world. Number 10. Larry Ellison, $79.1 billion. Age, 76. Residence, Woodside, California. Co-founder, CTO, and Chairman, Oracle, ORCL. Net worth, $79.1 billion. Oracle ownership stake, 35.4%, $51.5 billion. Other assets, Tesla equity, $12.5 billion public asset, and $14.3 billion in cash. After dropping out of the University of Chicago in 1966, Larry Ellison moved to California and worked as a computer programmer for several companies over the years. First, in 1973, he was an employee of the electronics company Ampex, where he met his future partners Ed Oates and Bob Miner. 3 years later, Ellison joined Precision Instruments, serving as the company's vice president of research and development. By 1977, Ellison had founded Software Development Laboratories, SDL, alongside Oates and Miner, which, 2 years later, released Oracle, the first commercial relational database program to utilize structured queried language. The database program proved so popular that SDL would change its name to Oracle Systems Corporation in 1982. Additionally, Ellison joined Tesla's board in December 2018. Oracle is the second largest software company and provides a wide variety of cloud computing programs as well as other software, such as Java and Linux, and the Oracle Exadata computing platform. The business has also grown through the acquisition of several major companies, including human resources management systems provider PeopleSoft in 2005, customer relationship management applications provider Siebel in 2006, enterprise infrastructure software provider BEA Systems in 2008, and hardware and software developer Sun Microsystems in 2010. Number 9. Sergey Brin, $79.1 billion. Age, 47. Residence, Los Altos. Co-founder and board member, Alphabet, GOG. Net worth, $79.1 billion. Alphabet ownership stake, 5%, $66.5 billion. Other assets, $12.6 billion in cash. What makes Google unique, compared to the other companies featured on this list, is that its co-founders are relatively close in terms of total wealth. Sergey Brin's involvement in Google follows a similar path to Page's. After the duo founded in the company in 1998, Brin served as co-president alongside Page until Eric Schmidt took over as CEO in 2001. Similarly, after founding Alphabet in 2015, Brin acted as the holding company's president before stepping down in 2019 when Sundar Pichai took over as CEO. In addition to being a highly popular search engine, Google also offers a suite of online tools and services, known as Google Workplaces, which includes Gmail, Google Drive, Google Calendar, Google Meet, Google Chat, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and more. In addition to software, Google also deals in a wide variety of electronic devices, including its Pixel smartphones. its Pixelbook computers and tablets, its Nest smart home devices, and its Stadia gaming platform. Number 8. Larry Page, $81.7 billion. Age, 47. Residence, Palo Alto, California. Co-founder and board member, Alphabet, JoJo. Net worth, $81.7 billion. Alphabet ownership stake, 6%, $69.2 billion. Other assets, $12.5 billion in cash. Like several tech billionaires on this list, Larry Page's claim to fame got its start in a college dorm room. While attending Stanford University in 1995, Page and his friend Sergey Brin came up with the idea of improving data extraction capabilities while accessing the internet. The duo devised a new type of search engine technology they dubbed Backrub, named after its ability to analyze backing links. From there, Page and Brin went on to found Google in 1998, with the former serving as CEO of the company until he stepped down in 2001. Google is one of the largest internet search engines on the planet, accounting for more than 70% of global online search requests. In 2006, Google, the company, expanded by purchasing YouTube, the biggest platform for user-submitted videos. Then, 2008 saw the release of the first mobile phone utilizing the Android operating system, which was originally developed by Android Incorporated prior to Google acquiring the company in 2005. Today, Google is a subsidiary of Alphabet, a holding company for which Page served as CEO between 2015 to 2019. Number 7. Zhong Shanshan, $84.7 billion. Age, 66. Residence, Hangzhou, China. Founder, Chairman, Executive Director, and General Manager, Non-Spring, NNFSF. Net worth, $84.7 billion. Non-Spring ownership stake, 84%, $76.5 billion. Other assets, Beijing Wantai Pharmacy Enterprise Equity, $13.7 billion public asset, and $1.30 billion in cash. The most famous living value investor, Warren Buffett, filed his first tax return in 1944 at age 14, declaring his earnings from his boyhood paper route. He first bought shares in a textile company called Berkshire Hathaway in 1962, becoming the majority shareholder by 1965. He expanded the company to insurance and other investments in 1967. Now, Berkshire Hathaway is a $500 billion company, with a single share of stock trading at more than $350,000 per share in early 2021. Widely known as the Oracle of Omaha, Buffett made the majority of his fortune through purchasing shares in companies with easy-to-understand business operations. While many investors have been piling into tech companies, Buffett has opted for a more cautious approach, only buying from well-established companies that are easier to understand, such as IBM and Apple. He is also a noted Bitcoin skeptic. Additionally, Buffett has also outright purchased a lengthy list of companies over the years, including Dairy Queen, Duracell, Geico, and Kraft Heinz. Number 6. Warren Buffett, $88.3 billion. Age, 90. Residence, Omaha, Nebraska. CEO, Berkshire Hathaway, BRK.A. Net worth, $88.3 billion. Berkshire Hathaway ownership stake, 38%, $87.1 billion. Other assets, $1 billion in cash. The most famous living value investor, Warren Buffett, filed his first tax return in 1944 at age 14, declaring his earnings from his boyhood paper route. He first bought shares in a textile company called Berkshire Hathaway in 1962, becoming the majority shareholder by 1965. He expanded the company to insurance and other investments in 1967. Now, Berkshire Hathaway is a $500 billion company, with a single share of stock trading at more than $350,000 per share in early 2021. Widely known as the Oracle of Omaha, Buffett made the majority of his fortune through purchasing shares in companies with easy-to-understand business operations. While many investors have been piling into tech companies, Buffett has opted for a more cautious approach, only buying from well-established companies that are easier to understand, such as IBM and Apple. He is also a noted Bitcoin skeptic. Additionally, Buffett has also outright purchased a lengthy list of companies over the years, including Dairy Queen, Duracell, Geico, and Kraft Heinz. Number 5. Mark Zuckerberg, $95.6 billion. Age, 36. Residence, Palo Alto, California. Co-founder, CEO, and Chairman, Facebook. Net worth, $95.6 billion. Facebook ownership stake, 13%, $92.5 billion. Other assets, $2.88 billion in cash and $225 million in real estate. Mark Zuckerberg first developed Facebook alongside fellow students Eduardo Saverin, Dustin Moskovitz, and Chris Hughes while attending Harvard University in 2004. As Facebook began to be used at other universities, Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard to focus entirely on his growing business. Today, Zuckerberg is the CEO and chairman of Facebook, which had more than 2.7 billion monthly active users as of Q3 2020. Facebook is the world's largest social networking service, enabling its users to create a personal profile, connect with friends and family, join or create groups, and much more. As the website is free to use, most of the company's revenue is generated through advertising. Facebook, the company, is also host to several other brands, including photo-sharing app Instagram, which it acquired in 2012, cross-platform mobile messaging service WhatsApp, and virtual reality headset producer Oculus, both acquired in 2014, Workplace, its enterprise connectivity platform, Portal, its line of video calling devices, and Novi, its digital wallet for the DM payment system. Number 4. Bernard Arnault, $109 billion. Age, 71. Residence, Paris, France. CEO and Chairman, LVMH, Logan. Net worth, $109 billion. Christian Dior ownership stake, 97.5%, $92.8 billion. Other assets, Moelis & Company equity, $18.9 billion. Public asset, Hermes equity, $2.12 billion. Public asset, Carrefour equity, $1.30 billion. Public asset, and $4.50 billion in cash. French national Bernard Arnault is the chairman and CEO of LVMH, the world's largest luxury goods company. This business owns some of the biggest brands on earth, including Louis Vuitton, Hennessy, Marc Jacobs, Sephora, and many more. The majority of his wealth, however, actually comes from his massive stake in Christian Dior SE, the holding company that controls 2% of LVMH. His shares in Christian Dior SE, plus an additional 6.2% in LVMH, are held through his family-owned holding company Group Arnault SE. Number 3. Bill Gates, $132 billion. Age, 65. Residence, Medina, Washington. Co-founder, Microsoft Corporation, MSFT. Net worth, $132 billion. Microsoft ownership stake, 1.3%, $22 billion. Other assets: Cornerstone Building Brands equity, $11.3 billion. Public asset: Republic Services equity, $10.2 billion. Public asset: John Deere equity, $9.31 billion. Public asset: Ecolab equity, $6.47 billion. Public asset: Vivaudan equity, $4.42 billion. Public asset: FEMSA equity, $2.11 billion. Public asset: Waste Management equity, $1.67 billion. Public asset: Berkshire Hathaway equity, $1.52 billion. Public asset: Diageo equity, $1.45 billion. Public asset: AutoNation equity, $1.37 billion. Public asset: Arch Capital Group equity, $1.20 billion. Public asset: Seacom AG equity, $1.19 billion. Public asset: Signet Jewelers equity, $696 million. Public asset: Televisa equity, $260 million. Public asset: Vroom equity, $249 million. Public asset: Liberty Global equity, $216 million. Public asset: First Cobalt equity, $182 million. Public asset: Western Asset, Claymore Inflation-Linked Opportunities and Income Fund equity, $167 million. Public asset: Otter Tail Corporation equity, $145 million. Public asset: Coca-Cola FEMSA equity, $121 million. Public asset: Western Asset, Claymore Inflation-Linked Opportunities and Income Fund equity, $89.3 million. Public asset: Owens Corning equity, $38.8 million. Public asset, and $55.1 billion in cash. 27. While attending Harvard University in 1975, Bill Gates went to work alongside his childhood friend Paul Allen to develop new software for the original microcomputers. Following this project's success, Gates dropped out of Harvard in his junior year and went on to found Microsoft with Allen. In addition to being the largest software company in the world, Microsoft also produces its own line of personal computers, publishes books through Microsoft Press, provides email services through its Exchange server, and sells video game systems and associated peripheral devices. Originally Microsoft's chief software architect, Gates later transitioned to the role of the chairman in 2008. He had joined Berkshire Hathaway's board in 2004. He later stepped down from both boards on March 13, 2020. Number 2. Jeff Bezos, $182 billion. Age, 57. Residence, Seattle, Washington. Founder and CEO, Amazon, AMZN. Net worth, $182 billion. Amazon ownership stake, 11.1%, $165 billion. Other assets: Blue Origin, $7.15 billion private asset, and $9.55 billion in cash. In 1994, Jeff Bezos founded Amazon.com in a garage in Seattle, shortly after he resigned from the hedge fund giant D.E. Shaw. In fact, he had originally pitched the idea of an online bookstore to his former boss David E. Shaw, who wasn't interested. Though Amazon.com originally started out selling books, it has since morphed into a one-stop shop for everything under the sun, and is arguably the world's largest retailer. At any rate, it is hard to dispute its self-description as the Earth's most customer-centric company. Its pattern of constant diversification is evident in some of its unexpected expansions, which include acquiring Whole Foods in 2017 and launching its own branded over-the-counter drugs in February 2018. 22. In 2020, Amazon's share price skyrocketed on the heightened demand for online shopping as lockdowns forced consumers to stay home. In the top 10s, here is the number 1. Elon Musk, $197 billion. Age, 49. Residence, Austin, Texas. Co-founder and CEO, Tesla, TSLA. Net worth, $197 billion. Tesla ownership stake, 20%, $141 billion. Other assets, space exploration technologies, $18.7 billion. Private asset, Elon Musk is working to revolutionize transportation both on Earth, through electric car maker Tesla, and in space, by rocket producer SpaceX. Elon Musk's rocket company is now valued at nearly $100 billion. Currently, his net worth is $171.6 billion. Musk's rocket company, SpaceX, is now valued at nearly $100 billion. Tesla has become the world's most valuable automaker with a market capitalization of $342 billion. Thank you. Please subscribe.